Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us in this session on social entrepreneurship as part of Rawat 2020. I would like to thank you all for joining us. I know it's a Thursday. For a lot of people, you could be doing a lot of things, but you chose to be here. This means that you have interest in the subject. So let's get started. Actually, before we do so, just a reminder, you can interact with me using the chat window. So please, I'm going to be asking just short questions. I would like to keep this interactive, so please do share your answers in the chat window. And at the end, we'll have, inshallah, time for Q&A where we can discuss things further. So let's get started. I'm here representing the Center for Entrepreneurship at Qatar University. In short, what we do is we're a center located in the College of Business at the university. Our task is to spread the culture of entrepreneurship at the campus and also in the environment for the ecosystem in Qatar. We do this mainly in the areas of research, training, and incubation. And for myself, my name is Imad Saif. I currently lecture at the College of Business and Economics. I teach mainly entrepreneurship courses, and I also train in the Center for Entrepreneurship, where we do the training basically inside the university, also outside, to also educate and support entrepreneurs here in Qatar. So today's agenda, we'll be talking sort of in an interactive fashion. So I will cover just what is entrepreneurship and how is it different than social entrepreneurship. We're going to look at some real examples to really help us understand that much better. And then we're going to talk more about the action. How can we actually become social entrepreneurs? What does it take? And then we'll have a chance to have questions if you have any. This is high level, so it's not really super detailed, but it will give us, the purpose is to give us just an understanding of what is entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurship, because it's something that is increasingly discussed, and we want to shed some light on the topic. So in the chat window, I want to ask you, who is that person? Write in the chat window, who is that person that you see in the picture? I think it'll be easy for most of you to recognize. So please use the chat window to interact with me and let me know, who do you think that person is? Should be an easy one. Go ahead and type it in the chat window. Don't be shy. I want your interaction here. So who is that person in the picture? When you think of entrepreneurship, a lot of people think of this person. Absolutely. So yes, someone said it's Steve Jobs. I think it's an easy one. So now, who is this person? Let's see if you know this person. Anybody knows who that person is? Some guesses here. Someone is saying it's Nelson Mandela. It's not. Who could it be? Okay, I won't take long because I'll come to that person later on, but just now keep in your mind that most of you probably were able to guess that that's Steve Jobs, but you couldn't get that person's name. Okay, I'm seeing some people now, they got it. So we'll come back to that point at the end, why we know the first person, Steve Jobs, but the other person, not so much. Okay, so we'll come back to this point later on. So now in the chat window, I want to ask you, what do you think is the biggest social problem in your life right now? So think of you personally, what social problem really affects you and keeps you occupied? You think about it all the time. There are some things that I can mention like poverty, unemployment, public health, education, home violence, food security, access to energy, access to water, climate change, malaria, and even COVID-19 that we're all being challenged with right now. So think what sort of issues that really affect you personally, you think they are really big. Just write down some words in the chat window. I would really appreciate it. Okay, I love it. I have here one comment, lack of empathy. Very, very interesting. That's a very interesting issue. Anything else that you consider a big social problem in your own environment, in your own ecosystem that you would like to change or like to see it change in some way? Anything else you'd like to add? Please share it in the chat box. And please reply to all so everyone can see your comments. All right, so I'll just keep an eye on the chat window to see what comments you have. Okay, now my next question to you is, who will solve these issues, these challenges? Whose responsibility is it to solve the problems of poverty, unemployment, public health, education, empathy, Any issues, social issues that you are now thinking of? Whose responsibility to solve these issues? Who do you think it is? Please write it in the chat window. Okay, some people are ahead of the game here. They're saying we have to solve it. That's wonderful. Okay, so again, we'll touch base on this point later on, but these important questions that will sort of be in the mind, our mind throughout the presentation, because they're really crucial, really difficult questions to answer, but we need to really address them when we talk about social entrepreneurship. So now, before we go and talk about entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurship, we need to just briefly talk what is entrepreneurship. So this part, we'll talk about entrepreneurship versus social entrepreneurship, just to make sure it's super clear for everyone. So entrepreneurship has many, many definitions. There's not one definition that people agree on, but here I give you a very simple one. Entrepreneurship is the art of transforming an idea into business. Notice it's an art. It's not just a science. It's something that we're still trying to understand. It's an art of transforming an idea into business. So what does that really mean? If you have any sort of business idea, you're thinking of a product or a service that you offer to a key customer segment where they have a common problem. So these group of people have a common problem that you have identified, and you think you have this idea that if I offer this product or service, I'm going to deliver this value. We call it the value proposition. It's almost like your promise to this group of people that if they buy your product or service, that they will get this value, and in return, you obviously get the money, the revenue for offering this product or service. That's essentially entrepreneurship. We are searching for these opportunities that the problems people have, and we initiate these products and services in which we're hoping they'll buy it, and then we can make money from that. That is a very simple look on entrepreneurship. And if you think of any products or companies that things like Apple, Facebook, Talabat, Aramex, Uber, Amazon, all these companies, what they have in common is that they offer different products and services for key customer segments. It cannot be everyone. It must be slightly tailored and adjusted for them. And in return of these products and services, we pay them money because we enjoy these products and services. Therefore, that is a form of entrepreneurship. Creating these companies, or they begin as startups and they grow and become big companies. So that's, in a way to look at entrepreneurship. So now, how is that different than social entrepreneurship? Social entrepreneurship applies the same principles of entrepreneurship, but yet the biggest difference is that we're focusing on addressing a social problem versus just making money. So social problem, we're looking at the problems we discussed earlier, and can I initiate some sort of initiative, start a company or something to address a social problem. So here the focus on doing adding a social value to a community, to a group of people, more than just making money. Notice in the picture, money is still there. So we're still making a company that makes money, it's profitable, but at the same time, it's adding value to a community or group of people. So it's focusing more on the social value, more and less on the money. So to make it clear, let's imagine we have X and Y axis. The X axis you see here is showing that this slide has no profit. Our intention here is not to make profit from an initiative, whereas here we actually have the intention of making profit. And as much as possible, that'll be great. On the Y-axis, we have here the intention of solving a problem. It could be a problem of connecting to the internet, doing something better. It could be anything. And on the bottom here, we have a social problem. So the problem has a very strong social impact on a group of people. So here's a social problem. Here's any problem. If we look on this quadrant here, this quadrant has the normal companies that we know. So most companies we know, they are solving a problem that the customers have, and they're also driven to generate profit. That's where they fall. And the opposite of this, who can guess what's the opposite of this? What sort of entities that they're not driven to make profit and they're trying to tackle social problems? What do we call those? What goes in this quadrant? Anybody can guess in the chat window. Please type it if you know. What goes here? In a way, it's sort of the opposite of what we have here, these typical companies. What goes here in the bottom? Any guesses? Great. Yes, I'm seeing here NGOs, charities, absolutely. So here we can see that NGOs, charities, maybe Islamic Relief, Red Cross, Qatar Charity, any of the things you can think of. These ones are basically motivated to solve social problems, and they just aim to cover their costs. So they're not really there for the money, just to run and keep doing the good for these communities or these customer segments. So now, when we look at social entrepreneurship, where we create social ventures, we're looking at this interesting space between both, that it combines making profit and at the same time solving a social problem. It's a very interesting space that we call social entrepreneurship. To make it more clear, imagine that on one side, here we're driven like a company like Apple. We want to make the best iPhones, the best devices out there, and sell it to as many people as possible to make the most economic value. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, because every country, every economy needs these products to really stimulate the GDP and become wealthy. So we do need these for sure. On the opposite end, we have these entities, like for example here, Qatar Charity, where they're trying to add as much social value as possible, and they're not there for the money. They're just there again to make the impact. So now the space between these two is called social entrepreneurship. That's where you have ideas where you can add both impact on the social side as well as the economical side. And usually we can do this through sustainable products and services. We offer better products that are sustainable. We can do it through creating employment. We can do it through profit distribution. There's really a lot of innovation that we're still exploring into that really unique space. So now let's look into some examples to make it really more clear. Here's an example of a company, or you can say an organization called Me2We. Me2We started in Canada when two brothers traveled to South America, and they really became an eye-opener. They saw children who are working, who are not in school as they were, as they grew up. So that really touched something in their heart, and they said, okay, we have to do something about this. So they started something called Me2We, and their goal was to sell products, make money from it, and then use that money, or a big part of it, to contribute to a charity. So what they did is they started selling products like you can see here. These are essentials for children. Could be backpacks, accessories, chocolate even, and they all have the label Me2We on it. So when customers buy it, they know that half of these profits are going directly to charity, and they have a charity they work with called Feed the Children. So that was one example of how you see it's not a charity because they have their own products and services. They're selling these products to make money, and the customers are responding differently because they know they have a unique social impact through their products. Now let's go to the example that we saw. Who is a smiley gentleman that who's really a hero that we all should know? This is Professor Muhammad Yunus from Bangladesh. He's an economics professor and founder of Grameen Bank. Some also name him the father of microloans. So for Dr. Muhammad, he founded Grameen Bank because he believed that the poor people should have access to basic banking services. But he noticed in his own environment in Bangladesh that it was very hard for banks to, almost impossible to give money to poor people or people who are suffering poverty because they don't trust them, right? They need some kind of collateral on the loan in order to get the money back. Otherwise, they don't trust. How are they going to get the money back from them? So it's really quite a dilemma. But he said, okay, I think I can offer microloans, small amounts of money, not so much, just enough that it can help someone start a small shop, maybe for sewing or for a mini market, something small. And to people's surprise who thought this would completely not work, almost like a very high percentage, almost over 95% of the people, the loan borrowers who took the money, they return it back. And that was really like a wow, that was like was something unexpected. And that helped 50 million people to rise above the poverty line. Imagine how powerful. This gentleman helped 50 million people to go above poverty line. And in 2016, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. So we're not here to compare him to Steve Jobs, but just think of his impact. His impact was significant, especially a social impact more than an economic impact, at least not in the sense of selling products as we see in the big companies, Facebook and Apple and the other ones. But his impact was amazing. So that's an example of a social entrepreneur who made a huge change. And because of him, many countries around the world started thinking of microloans as a way to actually change also the environments that they're in. So then microloans became more popular in different countries like the US And all this is owed to one brave person. His name is Professor Muhammad Yunus. Another example I want to show you is an initiative called City Soap. City Soap was started by an amazing entrepreneur, we should now say social entrepreneur, Noura Sharab. So Noura partnered with her friend Jacqueline Sophia to establish City Soap. This was back in 2013. They saw a social problem in Jordan. In Jordan, they have lots of refugee camps where people sit there. They're obviously in this tough situations, and they saw that there are some women who are suffering. They're unemployed. Some perhaps are widows. They don't have an income, so they want to find a way to empower these women, to give them that sense of that you're powerful. You're able to make your own money, and at the same time that sense of dignity, that you're not dependent on other people. You are really empowered through your own work. So she thought, okay, what if we make soap using olive oil, which is very famous in the region, in Palestine and in Jordan, and what if we sell the soap abroad as a luxury product? So through this was amazing way to bring the community together. And all these women, as you can see, some of the pictures have their own, they're working on the shops and they're able to sell soap and be very proud that this is sold as a luxury product to people around the world. And that really made a huge impact in the community for these women. And it really empowered them through making soap and being employed. There are also social entrepreneurs who are actually celebrities. So you can see some here like Matt Damon, who founded Water.org, his belief as well that everyone should have access to water. Jessica Alba, Shakira, Angelina Jolie. So actually, let's talk about them briefly. So Angelina Jolie, she has her own line of jewelry called Style of Julie, and she continuously is an advocate of equality and fighting poverty and all this. So she always, lots of donations happens through her line, just like we saw in Me Too Week. Shakira, who was actually in Qatar just last year, around this time, 2019 in November, part of the World Innovation Summit for Education, she came and she really surprised us by her amazing story. So aside from being an artist, she was driven as a Colombian citizen that she saw a lot of children who are out there who should be also in school. So she started her own foundation as an attempt to try to basically make a change in the community. And she had a very, very inspiring story because she said, as an artist, she's also using her platform as a way to make that impact, which is really, really a good message that anyone in the world can, support. Jessica Alba, also a famous actress that you all know her from a lot of maybe Marvel movies, and but now when she became a mother, she realized that now she has a child, and she's worried about the products if they're actually sustainable and they're toxic free. So when she did her research, she found there's a huge gap in the market for such products. So she founded the Honest Company, a company that provides all these baby care products, toxic free, made sustainably, everything is ethical. And that's something very powerful that she communicates through her company. And to this day, it's doing very well. And this company is a great example of social entrepreneurship and the impact it can have and the message it sends a lot of people through the products being sustainable and toxic free. Now let's look at a local example. Some of you may know Ghanem al-Salati. Ghanem al-Salati is a really an inspiring young Qatari here. He founded the first vegan cafe in Qatar. So Ghanem has a very interesting story in his journey to try to be healthier. And through it, he decided to become a vegan. So he realized that in the culture, in the community he's in, this is something that is not really understood. And it's something very strange. But he decided that it's something that he really wants to pursue, and he wants other people to have that option to be vegan or to eat more healthy. So he founded Evergreen, the first vegan cafe in Qatar, and that became the start, not just about a normal cafe that just sells products, it became also a side as educational. So he took a lot of time to speak at different events, to be an advocate of healthy living, healthy lifestyle, as you can see in the pictures. And not only this, he actually has other initiatives regarding, for example, paper cut factory where he makes recycled paper products in Qatar to replace plastic bags. So he's really doing a huge role in Qatar to promote awareness about the importance of sustainability, about the environment, about eating healthy. So we have these amazing individuals who are really start on their own, kind of against the wave. Everyone is moving different direction, but because they have a strong belief in their work, they really struggle and they work hard to really make that impact. Now, I want to talk slightly in an academic environment. So at Qatar University, we have under the core curriculum, which are courses offered to any student. This is something we started just under 2 years ago, and we're very proud of. A course that I'm also teaching called UNIF 200. It's Innovation, Leadership, and Civic Engagement. In this course, we're trying to really make an impact also, on the students at the younger age, that they can have awareness about social entrepreneurship. So here we have 3 parts, 3 topics interlinked, which is civic engagement, innovation, and leadership. So our goal is to help students realize what their values are, ignite that passion to make a change. Maybe you're driven to make a change in the environment or in health or solve a social problem like obesity or divorce or whatever you think you feel very strongly about. After that, we help them, give them the tools to innovate. So now they can innovate new products and services and new ideas to tackle these challenges. And at the end, we want them to inspire the community with their solutions and hopefully get them to really, continue and grow and become actual companies and organizations that can actually benefit the community. And this falls very nicely aligned with the Qatar Vision 2030, as well as on a global scale where we are now talking about SDGs, the Social Development Goals, something that is very, very important that now all the countries are talking about, especially now with global warming and a lot of world social problems that we need to tackle. So that's something that is giving us like a roadmap all together to work collectively as world citizens to make an impact. Now, here are some really cool examples. We just got these just a few days ago, the projects of our students. So some, for example, fall into under the environment, where just thinking of innovative ways to help people, throw the garbage in the bins, even though they're not working. So not many people are still using them. So the idea is to create an innovative waste bin that has this screen and has this feedback, especially for children, to give them that positive feedback. That's great job for throwing the garbage. So it's something that they're willing to trying to install and see if it actually has an impact on decreasing the amount of waste in Qatar. Another idea is in the area of health, where our students want to use an innovative bottle that actually helps the children drink more water. That's from a health perspective. So this has a game element in it. The more you drink, the more the game you're able to make progress. And that's a very, very clever way to combine gamification with health in order to increase people's consumption of water, which is a lot of people are thirsty and they're not even aware of it. Last example here is about education. There's an example called Khaddura or Khaddur. It's basically a small puppet of a toy that you actually have you plant the seeds and then grows the grass like hair, different plants. So the idea here is to educate children from a young age about the importance of the environment, about health, about planting. So there's a lot of skills like patience, appreciation for the environment that can, impact the children from a young age. And they want to really sell them, in a very unique local look that can attract people and get parents to buy them for the children and spend time together as well. So really creative ideas that are coming out of this experience that we created at university. So now the last part, and I think we'll have a lot of time for Q&A, for interaction. So now the last segment is, how do we actually become social entrepreneurs? How do we make that first step? If you have an idea, if you have an interest, if you have values that are really, you're feeling it right now from all the examples, how do we take the first step? I want to just share with you just a few traits that really are popping out. There's so many, you can't really say there's only 5, 3, or 6, or 10, but these are things that are really popping out that I'm seeing in a lot of social entrepreneurs. So one of which is social motives. It's the real desire to bring out positive change in society above personal interest. If you find this in yourself, that you're just self-motivated, there's that thing inside of you, just telling you, you need to do something. I don't like that, people are suffering depression. I feel like I must do something myself. Or, you know what, I really feel upset when people throw the garbage on the streets. Like, something inside of me, there's a motive inside of me that I cannot explain, but it's giving me that drive that I must do something. So all social entrepreneurs have different motives that really drive them and help them overcome the challenges in their journey. Another one is bravery. To be brave is your ability to take practical steps to implement the idea in the face of all challenges and risks. So for example, for Ghanem al-Salati with his journey with Evergreen, he was, for example, in a society where a lot of people eat meat. So by saying I'm going to be vegan, I'm going to only eat vegan things, it's challenging, it's difficult, it's frustrating. So unless you are brave and you're willing to walk through this journey and really strive and persist, it's not going to be easy, because social entrepreneurship is much harder than normal entrepreneurship, because you're trying to make a social impact despite all the social norms that could be wrong or could be problematic, while also trying to find a way to make revenue and make it sustainable. So bravery is something very important to be a social entrepreneur. Next one is innovative. That's your ability to just come up with innovative solutions, not think of the typical ways, think differently. Think of how can you tackle this difficult challenge in a very innovative way and come up with solutions that can actually work somehow. Because the traditional ways are done, they're not working, but there are always these ideas like, oh my God, that's so smart. Why didn't I think of that? So you need that innovative aspect. And as I mentioned in the course, we're trying to teach some of these tools to our students in order to be more innovative. Next is being business proficient. This means that you basically have the basics regarding the business world, the business language. So you know just enough about how to start a business, how to sell an idea. These are business skills that every entrepreneur must learn. It doesn't matter if your background is in business or not, but everyone at some point, if you have an idea, you want to implement it, you have to learn some basic business skills that can help you, bring your product to the market. And the last one I'm mentioning here is being collaborative. This means the ability for you as a person to inspire other people with your idea, with your vision, to lead your team, and then also collaborate with all the parties, all the people in all the stakeholders who would play a role in supporting you and helping you grow and succeed with the idea. So collaboration is key. I haven't heard of one social entrepreneur who was able to make the impact single-handed. There's always heroes that work with you, that support you, that make the idea work. So I want to give you now some practical steps that you could do if you would like to be a social entrepreneur. First one is choose a social problem, something that really drives you, something that interests you. Just as a start, just be honest with yourself. What do you really care about? And what is that problem that you're willing to read about, research, without noticing time? It's not a homework. It's something that you feel very much linked to. So find that social problem that attracts you, research it well, and do you think you understand it really well? You get the market, you get the problem, you get why it's happening, you get the people, you get all the people who impact the system, So when you have a deep understanding, then you go and you reflect on your own values and motivation. Does that really suit me as a person? Is that something that I'm willing to fight for and dedicate my time with? Because you can't just be doing multiple things and keep switching, but there must be something that you feel this is your journey, this is your mission in life, and your job is to go and fight and strive to actually solve the problem. Next, define your current skills and resources. What do you actually have and what do you need? So once I know that, okay, I'm really good at this thing, but I'm lacking this, maybe I need to find a team, someone to join me who can help me with that skill. Or I have these current resources, what else do I need to succeed? Maybe I can get help from this entity or this stakeholder. So it's a very realistic way to look at what you have right now, not what you don't have, and then gradually, step by step, work with these little resources and the skills you have, keep learning until you basically grow. And what's really amazing about this point is that you'll be really surprised how many people, if they are also interested in your idea, like they really believe in the cause that you're fighting for, how many would come and help you out of nowhere, and you'd be just impressed. You're like, wow, my God, I didn't know. And all the people who succeed, you always praise the community, and just because the values, the change you want is often the change other people want. So when this is someone who's serious, who's dedicated, who's working hard on it, they're very likely to come and support you to succeed. And the last step is just to start and learn by doing. There's no manual. There's no 1, 2, 3, 4 to make a social venture to succeed. It doesn't exist. It's all about you looking at examples around you, being inspired by others, but ultimately walking the talk. You yourself start something, and first time it may not work, second time may not work, but with time, you learn from your experiences, and then you adjust and eventually find what works, and that is the way you make an impact. So one good way to look at, if you want just time to reflect on what are my values, what are the things, what can I get ideas? There are so many things that you can find on YouTube, online, but one good website is called startsomegood.com. There you can find a lot of inspiring ideas from around the world where you can look at what have they done. It could be in all fields, in environment, in health, in social problems, all kind of things that would really think, oh my God, there's so much to do, and others are doing it. What if I take some of these ideas and explore if I can do it here in my own community? So I want to share with you one social initiative I've taken personally just now over 2 years ago, and I'll let you watch a short video and try to guess in the comment in the chat window what do you think the problem is. So pay attention and let me see if you can guess what is the issue I am trying to solve in this initiative called Play Meetup, Play Lego with Strangers.
Faces, bright and early for the daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow.
Okay, so what do you think is the issue? What do you think is the issue? I know there's a lot of things in here, but this is a video I found that sort of touched me, but it's not to do with the startup. But what do you guess? What do you think some of the issues you saw in the videos? Write them down in the chat window. Yes, loneliness, dead on. This is the point, loneliness. Phone addiction, social media, absolutely. So now let me show you the solution that I am trying to change here in response to this challenge, the challenge of, or the social problem of loneliness, depression, and addiction to social media. Let's watch the next video. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it played well from your side. So it will take a long time to explain, so I'll keep it very, very short. So because you can't guess just from the Lego itself, but the issue here, as I said, we're trying to relearn how to connect. People now are connected to maybe thousands or millions of people online, but they're still depressed. They're still feeling lonely. So one way I find to confront it is by using a methodology that I'm certified in called Lego Serious Play. I typically use this in training to really help people solve problems, creativity, help teams work effectively. It really builds on building, using your hands, sharing stories, reflection, lots of cool things. And it's based on research in the areas of neuroscience, psychology, behavior, and business, strategy, lots of cool things. And it's also super engaging. I've never seen anything this engaging in my life. That's why I keep using it all the time. If you follow me, you see my posts. And also it allows collaboration. Doesn't matter what your background is, what your age, it just brings people together. It's like a language that anyone can speak. And most importantly, it's super fun. You can tackle the most challenging topics and still have fun without even feeling it. So the Play Meetup idea was to bring in people who are strangers, who don't know each other. And then through this experience of play that is designed specifically for that purpose, they become friends. And that's a way that you get to know people much better in a short amount of time versus just grabbing a business card or adding someone online and that's it. And I've seen this become a community that's growing, alhamdulillah, in Qatar, and it's really amazing. So once you play with someone, you know them, you feel like they're best friends, and that's why we have this formula that is my hypothesis: strangers plus play equal friends. So that's one challenge that I felt very strongly about because I faced that as an expat living in Qatar. So now going back to the question I asked you earlier, who's responsible for solving all these problems? Not just loneliness, any problem you have, doesn't matter how big it is, if you can make one small impact, who is the person? Can we just expect the governments, the institutions to solve it? They might do an amazing job in a lot of things, but still us as citizens of the world, we have a responsibility to find the challenge that really suits us, that really we feel strongly about, and persist to try to solve it. So therefore, you are the hero. You are the person who can take a small change. It might seem impossible or difficult. That's what all the entrepreneurs said, or all the social entrepreneurs when they started. They said, oh, I never thought I would get here. But because it's that small step and that persistence, that discipline, then we're able to make this impact. So you saw in the beginning, I asked you the question, who is this person? Most of you would know the person on the left, who is Steve Jobs, an amazing entrepreneur that really impacted the business world, and we would never forget him. Amazing person. At the same time, this is an entrepreneur who's selling products to, basically it's for profit. But what about entrepreneurs like Dr. Muhammad Yunus? People who also are innovative, who even got the Nobel Peace Prize, but are not known as much. So what does that say about us as people? Are we just our eyes and the marketing around us? Is it only focusing on the on consumer products only? But what about social value? What about these problems that we mentioned? Whose responsibility is to fix it? If we don't step up, if you don't take a chance to do it, then who will? It's definitely going to be the job of a social entrepreneur. So if all of us tackle the challenges that we feel strongly about, and we take step by step and we help each other, we collaborate, I think we can implement the famous Nelson Mandela quote, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. So with that, I conclude my presentation. I thank you so much for being here. And now we have a chance to, to interact and ask questions. So feel free to ask any questions or make any comments in the chat window. And I think my colleague here sorry, Sami. So if you want, you can also request to raise your hand, and then I think we can have you ask the question verbally by voice, if you like. So any questions, any thoughts you have, please feel free to share them in the comments or raise your hand so you can speak. Sarah is sharing that says we need to look at the issues with a lens of social good. Absolutely. Thank you for this comment, Sarah, because we just look at, most of us look at things only just profit, money. But money is not the only currency. Kindness is a currency that we can all appreciate, but we really undervalue. We all want it. We use our products, the money, to get these things. So why not also look at our issues from a social good perspective or a lens, as you put it. Thank you, Sarah, for that comment. Any other thoughts or questions you'd like to share? It's a chance for us to interact. That's why I left this much room for us to interact and ask questions. Dr. Amal is asking if you have just one advice to give our young people in the field of social entrepreneurship, what will it be? That's a great question. Thank you, Dr. Amal, for asking it. I mean, if I could pick only one, I would say just start something. Start that social project on the side. And I'll say this to especially people who are working, you might think you're busy, you might think that you have no time, but even if you might not even get that satisfaction from your job. So there's something inside of you, there's a value that is just trying to come out. So if you start a small project, a small initiative, just do something and you'll be surprised how it might grow. And at the same time, when you help people, you help yourself. You grow, you feel like you're having an impact. So some examples I've seen, for example, I can mention from the community here. Some people, for example, love reading. So it started like a reading club. And it's amazing. People come in and they read some parts of the book and they discuss it and they love it. Another person uses hypnosis to help people deal with challenges. Amazing. Something very creative, but that's something that he started. Other people might do something, for example, like a sport initiative that can help people to become healthy. So it's just about something small that you don't have to expect much from it. You don't have to think about money. Just do it because you love it and because you want to help other people. And that can be honestly transformational in your own growth as well. I hope that answers the question, Dr. Amal. Sarah's asking, can we get youth in the region involved in such socially impactful activities? Absolutely. And I think there are so many organizations, not-for-profit out there that are creating the platform for them to interact, whether it's competitions, contests. But we do need more collaboration. We need to be able to work more collaboratively together to know of these initiatives, because I always hear things that I want to start something, but did you have a chance to see what's existing? A lot of people assume that they're the first person starting this idea. So it's really a waste of time and resources. It'll be smarter to first scan and perhaps maybe start a platform or website that can combine all these initiatives to make it easy for the youth to figure out what these initiatives are, and then be able to join them or start something similar in their own community. Thank you, Hadda, saying the concept of social entrepreneurship is new to me. Thank you for the presentation. I mean, me too, when I started, when I went into entrepreneurship after leaving the world of engineering behind for a bit, I wasn't aware of something called social entrepreneurship. I was led to believe that it's only about making money, and it's either charity work, or money only. But then this space between that appeared called social entrepreneurship, really amazing, because again, it makes you think, look at the world differently, and makes you feel that you have an impact, that you can do something, even something small, and the impact you have on yourself and other people is, again, absolutely worth it. So I really encourage everyone to try something small, a small project, and then see if it can evolve. Once it picks up and you feel you're offering a value, then you can look for the business model or the way that you can make it sustainable. And that's really challenging, but at least it's a journey that I think worth exploring. Any other comments or questions? Just in case, we have here on Instagram, you can follow the account of the Center for Entrepreneurship, so you can watch out for upcoming events, any live events we do as well. So follow QUCFE. And if you want to follow me personally on Instagram, my account is eSafePro. It'll be nice to connect with you, and hopefully we'll see many more people engaging in social entrepreneurship and changing the world altogether, inshallah. My pleasure, Dr. Amal. I think I don't see any more questions. If there's no more question, Mr. Sami, anything else you would like to add, or should we conclude? Okay, I think it's yes, a question. Salma, please go ahead. Would you like to ask it verbally for a change? Okay, great. Mr. Sami, do you mind please making Salma, give her the chance to speak, please?
Hello,
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. It's wonderful. I just had a question about Qatar University Entrepreneurship Center. How do you teach students about social entrepreneurship there? Is the wonderful idea of playing Lego one of the ways you train students? Or how do you go about teaching them about social entrepreneurship? Just tell us a little bit about that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for the question, Ms. Salma. In a way, we have different approaches. Now, regarding academics, I mentioned previously in my presentation, one of the courses that we launched just under 2 years ago, UNIF 200, where we tried to academically give an option for students to take a course where they can learn more about social entrepreneurship. And that's the examples I showed before in my presentation. Now, our center is more about entrepreneurship in general. There's nothing made currently for social entrepreneurship. That's something we can work on and increase more. But we're seeing actually more students when they have competition or contests, that ideas actually come revolving around some social problems that they can solve. So the center, regardless of your ideas, if you have an idea, whether it's about making social impact or it's for profit, it doesn't matter. We can support the students through, again, our research, training, and incubation. So that's something that we welcome, because we want to help students learn about entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurship. Regarding the Lego, that's just one way we use for training, because I work in the training section of the center. So we do offer, for example, before sessions for students to learn about entrepreneurship. We, for example, have an event during COVID-19 just about a month ago or so for a College of Pharmacy, and we had students and also instructors all together explore the meaning of entrepreneurship through the Lego Serious Play training. And that was really fun, and especially now that we don't have students go to classes. So there's not, I think, one way, but these are just examples that we try, whether it's academically or through non-academic, through training, basically through incubation and training programs, that we can bring more awareness about social entrepreneurship. And I think it will take time, but definitely there's more interest in the area of social entrepreneurship. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Any other questions? Any comments you'd like to share? If you want to speak as well, please let us know and we can give you the mic. Any other questions before we wrap it up? I think we're done. Okay, all right. So in that case, I think we can conclude the presentation. I want to thank you, all of you, for attending, for joining us, for asking questions. I hope you learned something. It was beneficial anyway. And I would like to thank my colleague Sami and all his team for hosting the session, as well as Rawad and QDB, who's organizing the session. And I look forward to see you in future events. Thank you very much and take care.